Alright, Nathan Cox here. I just did a review on these vinyl plank flooring, the ones with the locking edges, or the locking lips, like the laminate floor. And I realized a lot of people have troubles locking these in tight. And that is really one of the biggest keys to making this floor last and look as good as it should, is making sure all the joints are locked in tight. Because if not, water and dirt and everything like that gets in between the joints, ruins the floor, doesn't last like it should. And you really get angry at that. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right into it. I want to say right off the bat, do take a minute to look at the instruction booklet from your particular brand, your line, because they do sometimes differ a little bit between brand and brand. But this is a very typical locking lip design right here. So I'm going to use this one. And yes, this might look weird because I'm on laminate floor, and no, I'm not replacing it, although I could be putting it right here in the kitchen and putting it over this laminate, but this was actually done in a bathroom remodel by the homeowners. I'm handling the much more difficult parts of it, but they want to do the flooring themselves. So this is a leftover box, and I'm going to share it with you guys how to put them together. You can see I've already got it put together here. So I'm going to take the back row off. Here, okay? Alright, I'm going to start here with this first row. Now, most instruction booklets will tell you to take some kind of a shim or a spacer, about a 1/4 inch wide or thick, and put it, against the wall. You want to have a little bit of expansion room for these floors. They do swell, contract, and contrast a little bit, and you don't want them to buckle if they're too tight. Okay? So we're going to take this apart. I'm not going to take this first row apart for time's sake. All right, that's how you put them together. This company suggests we do this. Now we do offset the seams too. Okay, so here's a seam. You really probably can't see it, and here's a seam. So I'm not going to line this one up here and make these seams line up and put 4 corners together. If you do that, then you have a weakness there. The 4 corners together, you're asking for it to have damage. So don't do that. Offset it some way. If it's a wood plank tile, most people like to do a random offset where each row is different, so the seams are all over the place. Since these look like tile, I'm going to do a more controlled offset. They did a 1/3 offset. You can do a 1/3 or a 1/2 are the most common ways to do it. Where, it's right there in the middle is a 1/2, and there's a 1/3. And you just measure it depending on the exact length of them, and cut it so that each one is offset by whatever you pick. Enough about that. First one is easy. Just line it up, about 20 to 30 degrees, lift it up. And of course this would be easier if this was against something and not sliding all over the place. Okay? You want to make sure that the seam is tight. Use your fingernail. If your fingernail goes in, that's not tight. Okay? You want to kind of wiggle it a little bit with some pressure as it goes down. And be careful that you're not taking this previous row and pushing them so they slide out of line with each other. This is a perfect line right now. Okay? Okay? You'll definitely know it's a perfect line so that when this crosses over this seam here, the short seam, there'll be no gap in the long seam. Alright, so we're tight. Alright? No gaps. Now the next one, this is where the trick comes in, and everyone has troubles, because it is a little pain in the butt. And there's no magic trick about this. There's a way to do it right and do it wrong, but it takes work, okay? You get that in, that's tight. You want to get this so it's close, okay? So you're not too far away. Then what we're going to do is we're going to lift it up. You're going to lift the whole thing up, but you're not going to lift it up to the full degree that you did the other one. You got to kind of do a worker. There we go, get it a little bit tighter. Now we're not in line here yet, but we're pretty close. I can still stick my fingernail in over here, so you gotta keep wiggling it. And putting pressure, there we go, until it slides together. Now over here, see this gap? That's not gonna work. So I gotta lift it up, and there we go, work it. Now here's the frustrating part. While I'm doing that, this end over here came out a little bit. So we're going to go back and very carefully lift up just a little bit, wiggle her back in. Okay? Fingernails do not fit into any of those seams. Alright? So, if you start getting frustrated, wow. If you start getting frustrated doing this, just stop. Step back, take a breath. This is not the kind of thing that you can work through your frustration with. It gets worse and worse in compounds, all right? There's also another way you can do this, which is real similar. I'll try to show you real quick, try not to make the video too long, is if you're working in an area that's not too wide, maybe you're working in a hallway and running them this way, or a bathroom which is probably only 5 foot wide, so you're not going to be over 3 tiles wide anyways. There it is. Go ahead and start with and make your whole second row here, or your next row. Of course it could be your third or your fourth. Alright, so here's our first row, here's our second row. We've got our offset. And now let's stick the whole thing in. We've got it all tight. We're going to start here on our left, just because it seems easier. Lift up a little bit, wiggle it in. Lift up a little bit, wiggle her in. And keep working your way. And actually this could work with a longer row. These do flex pretty good. So you could do it in a wider area. There you go. I just worked an entire row in a little bit more time, just a hair more time than it took just to do one tile. I kind of like doing the whole row at a time, lining them up and just working and work your way down. And you got to be careful that while you work your way down, you don't separate the area you started with. Guys, I hope you like this video. I hope it helps you. I do want to help you with your do-it-yourself projects. Flooring is a big thing a lot of people do. So please, if you like this video, share it so other people hopefully can be helped also. Oh, excuse me. Please check out my channel. I got a lot of other videos covering a lot of different areas of your home and a little bit of everything else. So thanks again, and please subscribe.